There is a lot going on in the world of professional wrestling, not just WrestleMania 41 Night 1 just wrapping up, but so much more that we are going to talk about. But hey, before we do, my name is Fred Richani. This is TSC Wrestling, the Sports Courier. We're here to recap WWE WrestleMania 41 Night 1 from top to bottom. We'll take some questions as well on the air. And of course, we'll talk about all the crazy news. WWE buying AAA. Bayley being written off WrestleMania. Becky Lynch possibly returning. But we're going to kick things off at the top of the show with what we just witnessed in the main event of WrestleMania. Now, I got to say, in a nutshell, WrestleMania 41, Night 1, not the best WrestleMania I've ever seen, to say the least. I was waiting for those matches to kick into another gear. Some of them were pretty good. LA Knight and Jacob Fatu, up to that point, was the best match of the night. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair worked really hard. They had a pretty damn good match as well. But Roman Reigns, Seth freaking Rollins, CM Punk had an absolute triple threat classic. Like, wow. I'm just watching this. Just waiting to see what happens with Paul Heyman. This match had everything. All kinds of kickouts, all kinds of chaos. And finally, at the end of the match, Paul Heyman takes a chair, slides it in, gives it to CM Punk. CM Punk grabs the chair, is about to use it, and Paul Heyman sneaks into the ring, low blows CM Punk, and gives the chair to Reigns. And then he points to Seth Rollins. He says, the shield, do it, my tribal chief. Hands Roman Reigns the steel chair. Roman Reigns lifts up the steel chair to finally get his revenge on Rollins, even though he's beaten Rollins' ass over the course of the last 11 years now since the Shield dissolved, got back together again, dissolved again. He was about to hit Rollins, and then Paul Heyman once again hits that low blow, and boy, oh boy, Roman Reigns, that poor tribal chief, he was betrayed by Paul Heyman. So to keep track for anybody who's not sure, Paul Heyman slid the chair, teased, giving it to CM Punk and letting CM Punk hit Roman Reigns, low blowed CM Punk, turned on CM Punk 12 years later, 12 years after Money in the Bank 2013, which I was there live. That was a great show. Y'all should watch on Peacock. Then he pretended to stay aligned with Roman Reigns, low blowed him, turning on Roman Reigns for the first time, his tribal chief, or so-called tribal chief, I guess, right now. And, well, then he gave the chair to Rollins. Rollins used the chair, hit Roman Reigns in the back, gave him a curb stomp. 1, 2, 3, and yes, Seth freaking Rollins at this stage of his career is officially not just a WrestleMania singles main eventer, but he is also a WrestleMania main event winner. And yes, I guess the Money in the Bank does sort of count WrestleMania 31. But this was his first official main event singles match at WrestleMania, and he got the job done. So many kickouts, so many great reversals. I guess they were using some new tables. These were these hard plastic tables, and with Roman Reigns powerbomb both Seth and Punk on there, they just kind of poof, imploded. They didn't break through the table, which I don't know what's better. I think to me, if the table actually broke, it would have been better for both those guys' backs. But yeah, those are the breaks, I guess. There were a lot of near falls. Everybody kicked out of everything. There was probably the greatest spear into the pedigree counter that Seth Rollins has ever hit. That was a great spot. Great entrances. CM Punk had this amazing video intro that had the Fire Burns playing in the background, his old theme song. And then he came out with Living Color playing his current theme song, and they were there live. So cool to see. These guys absolutely delivered because this show was desperate. And I mean desperate for a classic match, and this was it. I still wish it also included the number one contendership. I still wish that this also included a world title, but what can I say? This was fantastic, and you never know. There's still WrestleMania Night 2. Maybe Paul Heyman will pull some strings for his new client, Seth Rollins, and maybe just maybe they'll insert him into that Cena and Cody matchup because let's keep it real. While I'm excited for that matchup, just from an unpredictability standpoint, John Cena, when's the last time he's had a great singles match? Anyway, anybody? And I mean one-on-one match. The Austin Theory match wasn't much. The Solo Sikoa match wasn't much. When's the last time we've actually, just think about it really hard. When's the last time you've seen a good John Cena one-on-one match? I can't remember. It's been a while. Maybe Roman Reigns, Survivor, or SummerSlam 2021. I think that's when they wrestled. I'm not sure, but it's been quite a while. So we shall see. I'm sure there's going to be tomfoolery in that match either way. But, whew, crazy, crazy times here. So the announced attendance was 61,467 fans in Las Vegas, Nevada at Allegiant Stadium, where the Las Vegas Raiders play. There was a lot going on leading up to the show. Let me catch y'all up to speed. So we found out that Triple H, in his infinite wisdom, decided, hey, let me book Rey Mysterio in a match the night before WrestleMania when the guy's almost 50 freaking years old. Well, guess what? Poor Rey got injured, and he was off the show. Although, seeing how they booked his replacement, maybe it was a blessing in disguise. I don't know. We had that. So Rey Fenix actually replaced Rey Mysterio. Bayley, in a backstage angle on tonight's pre-show, was allegedly attacked by Liv Morgan and Raquel, and she is off WrestleMania. And PWIinsider.com reports that Bayley is not injured, that this was kind of a plan for a while. Now, I am just speculating that this probably means that Lyra Valkyria is going to team with Becky Lynch, given their history, especially their history in NXT. And it's just, I am appalled because one, like, apparently Becky Lynch has been waiting for good creative in order to come back. This is not good creative. This is going to make her look like the bad guy here. Just like when she came back and beat Bianca Belair for, in 20 seconds for the women's title. That was stupid. So this is really stupid. Number two, if Bayley's actually not hurt and there's no like personal thing going on with her, this is disgusting. This woman has worked so damn hard, has been so consistent. Even Triple H, who is the booker, by the way, meaning he's the one that puts together these shows and oversees all the creative, he always sings her praises and this and that. Why can't you find a spot for her? How does she not have a spot? Can she at least come out in like a sling or something tomorrow with Lyra Valkyria? The fact that Bayley, somebody who is one of the 4 horsewomen, one of the women that has quite literally revolutionized pro wrestling, yet she gets a fraction of the respect, is pathetic. It's embarrassing. It's disgusting. And honestly, if I were her, I would leave. Straight up. I would leave. Obviously get paid. Wait till her contract expires, but I wouldn't renew. Go to AEW, make a lot of money, get the praise that you deserve, and get out. Just don't be a mark. They clearly do not respect her like they think she thinks they do. Okay, or maybe she realizes that they don't respect her, because if they did respect her on a 2-night WrestleMania, there should be a spot for Bayley. It's absolutely pathetic. It's pathetic. Never mind the fact that they lowballed, or allegedly lowballed, Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, and we're like, yeah, you're not worth bringing back, even though she's probably the greatest women's wrestler of all time. As far as in America, obviously there's women overseas and in Japan, of course, but I'd put Mercedes Moné up there as probably the best American women's wrestler of all time. Bayley's certainly up there. Obviously, Charlotte Flair, which she's on, is one of the best. But what the hell are we doing here, folks? I don't get it. It's disgusting. So that sucks. And then the other news that came out right before WrestleMania is that WWE is going to be running a When Worlds Collide show as part of NXT with AAA, one of the top Lucha Libre promotions other than CMLL. And CMLL is kicking ass right now with its partnership with AEW and just filling up Arena Mexico. But WWE also announced that they have acquired AAA, which is horrible for pro wrestling because that's another major promotion that's now off the grid. Maybe WWE will keep it running for a while, but it's never going to be the same. On top of that, and again, I won't go too much into it because people that are more knowledgeable than me about it, and we'll go into WrestleMania. But Stephanie Vicaire, who retained her NXT Women's title today, her abuser or alleged abuser, Quattrero, who's a wrestler for AAA, was not only harbored by AAA, but protected and continuously employed by AAA after the allegations, which included an investigation for femicide, as in homicide, yeah, or attempted homicide. That's how badly she was allegedly abused, okay? Disgusting. Disgusting. And there's been people like BJ Bethel, who are great reporters on Twitter, who have talked about how perhaps Stephanie Vicaire, while she was offered more money at AEW, she opted to go to WWE because one, it's her dream, and two, because certain people like Rush, who are in AEW, were supporters of her abuser. I don't know if that's really the case or so. I mean, BJ's a very, very credible reporter. I'm just saying they know more than me. But yeah, and on top of that, Conan, who booked AAA, more or less kind of called her a liar and or at least cast doubt on her allegations. And now she has to do a show with the company that stuck by her abuser. And also, by the way, stuck by Alberto El Patron, aka Alberto Del Rio, who had some god awful allegations that he somehow escaped. Oh, yeah, I think I know how he escaped because I believe, if I recall correctly, the woman who accused him fled, probably for her safety. So, hey, congrats on acquiring the library, but, hopefully all those scumbags that employed her abuser along with her abuser are no longer employed. And Conan could kiss my ass. Anyway, so let's get to WrestleMania here. But yeah, a lot going on. It's crazy. Oh, yeah, and Randy Orton still doesn't have a WrestleMania opponent. He's going to have a open challenge WrestleMania Sunday. Got all that? Yeah. It's crazy. I know. There is a lot going on here. We'll get to what happened at NXT as well, but let's get to WrestleMania. First off, shout out to Mr. Racer here. I haven't seen him in a while. Rusev versus Randy Orton tomorrow night. I could see that, What? I wouldn't be mad at it. I'm not feeling Rusev, aka Miro, anymore. I'm just so tired of it. If you don't know, he got released by AEW. He had a sweetheart deal. And look, I'm not one to, stand for billionaires and promoters and anything else, but if your boss is telling you to do something and it involves just putting over Hangman Adam Page, allegedly, or whoever he was supposed to put over, and you say no, like, and you're getting paid, like, let's just say 7 figures or high 6 figures, like, what the hell are you doing, man? Well, like, what are you doing? This guy just, I don't know, he played Tony like a fiddle. Look, at the end of the day, Tony should have probably fired him a long time ago. But I don't know. I don't know how, like, that's not like breach of contract to be like, okay, you're not doing any jobs. You're not putting anybody over. Like, okay, get out of here. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm sure he'll get a big pop and everything else, but yeah, not the biggest Miro fan these days. So yeah, I could see that happening. But honestly, I wouldn't have him win. Why is Randy Orton going to put him over? I wouldn't do that. Maybe who would I like to see against Randy Orton? I don't know. Maybe Solo. Well, no, Solo. I wouldn't really like to see that. It would make some storyline sense, but maybe Sheamus, because Sheamus is a legend at this point, and he deserves a WrestleMania match. Just let them have a badass match. That's what I do. But we'll see. All right, so let's get to the top of the show here. We had Triple H welcome everybody to WrestleMania because he's such a humble guy that he needs to have a 60-minute speech and induct himself into his own Hall of Fame. And then come out and open the show because, he's a very humble guy, doing all these media interviews and glazing Trump and glazing himself and telling the fans to just be a fan and watch and not complain. I would like to see Triple H go to a restaurant and have somebody take a dump in his food and I'll be like, hey man, don't complain. You said don't complain. Yeah, if you don't know, WWE's also had an awful WWE PR tour. They've had all these interviews where they've essentially been either praising Trump, dissing fans, or in the case of John Cena, just blurting out that he loves Vince McMahon and he essentially doesn't care if people don't like it, and he understands the allegations are serious, but he loves Vince McMahon. Would he love Vince McMahon if he didn't make him rich, while also probably still underpaying him and not giving him benefits? I don't know, but yeah, not a great PR week for WWE. It sounds like they're trying to kind of be more right wing like UFC. But even Dana White, the UFC president, has said publicly, like, they are different audiences. They're very different audiences. So I feel like they're just alienating the audiences, and at the end of the day, everything is so political these days. Everything is so politicized. There's so much awful things going on in this country and in the world. Like, people do want wrestling as escape. People do understand that WWE is aligned with certain political affiliations already. They don't need to have it thrown in their face. So I think throwing it in fan spaces who are already trying to like just watch the show, yeah, that's gonna backfire. But anyway, more on that later. Jey Uso defeated Gunther via, believe it or not, via rear naked choke, via sleeper, tapping out Gunther to win the World Heavyweight Championship. This was probably the most polarizing match on the show. Reason being because Jey Uso, in general, receives a lot of flack for not being the best wrestler. Triple H actually was quoted during this amazing PR week that says, Jey may not be the best in the ring, but he connects with the fans. Okay, like he's describing him like he's Andre the Giant or something. But yeah, Jey does connect with the fans. I'm happy that Jey won, but I don't know if I like the way Gunther lost here. Jey hit a couple Uso splashes, got him in the sleeper hold, and Gunther tapped. I would have liked him to have, maybe made Gunther pass out. I also felt like this match could have been more violent. This guy just destroyed your brother in front of you, made your mom cry, and then this past Monday night, you yeet. The week before, you cut a serious promo, but you didn't even put hands on Gunther, the man who whooped your brother's ass. And here he is, doing his full entrance and everything, which is great. It's his moment. God bless him. He's like 39 years old. He's waited for this his whole wrestling life. But I just, and I know there were a whole slew of other matches to come. But if there was a match that needed some blood, some blood and guts, some violence, this was it. I feel like this really needed to be turned up a notch. I mean, yeah, I guess at the end of the day, he got his revenge. The big bad wolf tapped out. I don't think this killed Gunther's aura, but I don't think this really protected him either. It's a great moment, and look, Gunther could always get it back. But I think they put Jey in a position where he had to win. They kept talking about he's 0-3 versus Gunther. He's 0-6 in world title matches. Like he had to win this. So I get it. Crowd loved it. He's one of their most popular stars. As for where he goes from here, I have absolutely no idea. I kind of would like to see them pivot from Gunther. They've been doing this since like what, December? January? Like right before the Royal Rumble, they did this, right? So I would like to see them pivot a bit. As for what, I guess you could do Jey Uso versus Seth Rollins. I mean, Seth's a great wrestler. He's one of the top guys. I don't think it hurts to have him hold the world title again. But I really think after WrestleMania, they kind of need a bit of a reset. Jey is a new guy. I mean, as far as like in that main event scene, holding the world title. But I don't know if he's like the long-term champion kind of guy. Like, I don't think I need him to hold the title as long as Cody has, or as long as Gunther had. So we'll see. We'll see. It'd be nice to have Jey, give him a few months and maybe have him drop it to Braun Breaker or kind of rising star, or maybe call up Obafemi and strap a rocket to him. I don't know. But I feel like they got to build up another heel besides just the usual crop of characters. We'll see. We'll see. But this was a good match. But yeah, very, very polarizing finish. A lot of my friends were texting me like, why did Gunther tap? And hey, I can see why they'd be pissed about that. We had the New Day defeat the War Raiders to win the World Tag Team titles. This was all right. Kind of seems like it was more of a Raw match, to be honest. It had some decent crowd heat. I mean, the New Day are getting booed. Kofi looks so funky after shaving like his mustache. It's so weird, man. The goatee thing, the lack of like a goatee, it's so weird. It's freaky. But hey, I guess you got to change it up a little bit when you change your image. So it was a pretty good match, and at the end, they hit their finish, and then Kofi went for the pin, and Xavier held down one of the Raiders' legs without the referee seeing, and they won the World Tag Team titles. They're now 13-time tag team champions if you count the NXT titles. So yeah, pretty good. And yeah, they hit Ivar. What was it? The up, up, down, down. The name of Xavier's YouTube channel. They pinned Ivar. And so Woods pinned Ivar, sorry, and Kingston held the feet down. So there you go. As you could tell, God bless both these teams, but I wasn't too interested in this match. I think for me, they had such a strong heel turn with Big E. So great. They got great heat back-to-back weeks. And then for just a few months, they did nothing with them. And if you recall, in the first couple of matches, they actually lost to like the LWO. So they just kind of killed their heat right out of the gate. They're both talented enough where they could get booed anytime. But as far as like the momentum they had, like in that moment, that was one of the best heel turns ever. You did not expect it. And then this happened. I don't know. Like to me, they should have added another member who could have been like a top guy, or they should have tried to repush Kofi as a strong singles character. Not saying that Xavier Woods shouldn't be a tag team champion. I'm not saying they couldn't even be still a tag team, but I don't know. They turn on Big E just to trade wins and losses for a few months, get some heat, and then just win the tag team titles again. Like really? There's got to be more to it. I mean, it'd be nice if they like say join Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. That'd be something different. But I don't know. I feel like they really kind of killed their momentum a little bit here. I'm happy all these guys got a WrestleMania appearance, but it's a shame that they were kind of an afterthought for a few months. And yeah. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering where the SmackDown Tag Team Title match is, it doesn't exist because it's going to be on this coming week's SmackDown in a TLC match. And this is a card that could have desperately used a TLC match or some type of stipulation match. I don't know what they're doing here. And Chelsea Green, also not on the show, takes another loss to Zelina, and God bless Zelina, but she's just not over right now and hasn't been built up very well as a character. And also they gave her this weird, crappy Def Rebel rap theme. And every time she enters, it's crickets. And I'm not saying it's necessarily her fault. They never really built her up. And yeah, Chelsea Green not on the show. Lara Valkyria not defending the women's IC title on the show. Great way to introduce these titles. Yeah, as you can tell, this WrestleMania build has not been that great. Not great. Jade Cargill beat Naomi. This has actually been a pretty good build. This is a really good match. There were some cool spots as well, including where Jade got Naomi up for this freaking hellish powerbomb. My goodness, I thought Naomi got killed there. And then she hit the Jaded for the win. I thought Naomi should have won here. She came out to some new rock music. Felt like it was like SmackDown versus Raw vibes. I love the new look. I love the new entrance, the theme. It was great. I really think she needed a win here. But if they want to go in different directions after Mania, I get it. Give Jade the win. She is the baby face after all. But I really do feel like it was like 80% Jade in this build-up and 20% Naomi as far as like getting, the heat and everything else, which is unfortunate. But trying to build Jade up, I get it. But pretty good match. And this is also the first match between two women in 19 years to not include a title. That's crazy. That's just sad, too. And also the first singles match, the first singles non-title match between two women in WrestleMania history to not have a stipulation. Even crazier. So God bless them. They both made history. A little clunky in some spots. You could tell that Naomi was really trying to like lead Jade here. And it's not a knock on Jade, but I'm just saying it was kind of evident that Naomi was the one really trying to, move things along. But hey, they pulled it off. The crowd liked it. It worked for the crowd. And at the end of the day, that's who you're performing for, right? So good for them there. Hope this leads to more with Naomi, but I'm not going to get my hopes up because, like Bayley, another person who's been kind of a pioneer of this modern generation, somebody who's inspired so many women to get into professional wrestling, especially on Total Divas, and over the years just been routinely disrespected. So I really hope that's not the case and that she continues to move on up, but we shall see. Jacob Fatu, the LA Knight to win the United States Championship. This was the best match of the show up to this point. I would have not have thought that. Not that Jacob Fatu's not great. LA Knight's a pretty good wrestler, but it just seemed like a weird match on paper. But these guys showed out. They did great. And Jacob Fatu won with a senton bomb, consecutive moonsaults. 1, 2, 3. He's the new United States champion. Very, very weird, though, because Solo Sikoa was not a factor at all in this match. He entered with Fatu, but he went back. Tama Tonga didn't interfere. We didn't see a Tongaloa in his eye patch appearance at all. Nothing. But who did celebrate with Jacob Fatu? Haku, which is pretty freaking cool. I believe Haku's his uncle, and of course, part of that legendary dynasty in some way, shape, or form. I don't know the exact connection with every single one because there's Haku's family and then Anoa'i family and it just and the Johnson family, but really cool to see King Haku there. Don't ever mess with him, even at this age. That guy's a badass. But congrats to Jacob Fatu. Very inspiring to go from prison and all his trials and tribulations to now being one of the top guys. Pretty freaking great. But it is crazy to think about that. After all these years, Solo Sikoa still doesn't have a WrestleMania match ever on his name, on his resume. That's really wild. Very crazy. We had El Grande Americano defeat Rey Phoenix. Seriously. Chad Gable, under a mask, playing a racist luchador from the Gulf of America, defeated Rey Phoenix. I'm sorry. This angle sucks. This match was really good, but this angle sucks. The fact that Rey Phoenix, who just got there, loses to El Grande Americano, who slid like some block or something in his mask and used it as a weapon with the headbutt. Ugh. Terrible. The only notable thing here, besides how appalling the finish was, this might be the most racist finish since Booker T versus Triple H at WrestleMania 19. I'm not even kidding. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? You just bought AAA. Anyway. Also, Chad Gable, have some shame, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that guy's college educated. I'm sorry. He should be on the show as Chad Gable. He should be on the show as Chad effing Gable. Like, you just resigned there. They paid you a lot of money. Just tell Triple H, hey, this kind of sucks and it's kind of racist. I don't want to do it. But no, they don't want to do that. They just want to, I don't know, wrestle in stupid gimmicks like DIY. Walking in with, Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano literally walked with like a picture of Triple H and their child like on their shoes, and I think like on their suits or whatever. Like, the amount of glazing is ridiculous. I don't know. Some of these people got to really take like charge of their characters because this is terrible. Anyway, the other notable thing, Vikingo. Yes, Vikingo, who I don't know if he's still the AAA champion or not, but he is a fantastic wrestler. I know he was hurt for a while. He had some phenomenal matches with Kenny Omega that I watched, and I watched him a bit in AEW. Fantastic wrestler. Takes some insane risks, but fantastic wrestler. He actually gave El Grande Americano an enziguri from the barricade before the match started. Yet somehow El Grande pulled out the win, the valiant heel. And afterwards, Vikingo checked on Phoenix and helped him up. Just embarrassing all around. Hopefully, Penta will have better luck on Sunday. Shawn Michaels came out, announced the attendance, and then we saw some celebrities in the crowd. Dana White was shown twice in the crowd, and I think the second time he got booed. The first time he got kind of a mixed reaction. We had Stephen Amell and Israel Adesanya in the crowd. That was cool. And we had Joey Roll. I think he sung the national. Oh, he sang. Did he sing "God Bless America"? I missed like the beginning, but I believe Joey Roll did sing "God Bless America" or some semblance of the national anthem. And oh yeah, he's saying "God Bless America." I watched some clips. I'm sorry, I will never know why Joey Roll is famous, what songs he has. Maybe he's a nice guy, but I don't know. He looks like a meth dealer on Euphoria season 3 or something. I'm sorry. Get him off my TV. It's all good. But hey, he got to sing it. Then we had Tiffany Stratton take on Charlotte Flair. Tiffany Stratton came out, and I hate when the champions come out first, but she came out with a Barbie-themed entrance, which is really cool. And the announcer said that it was custom made by Mattel. By the way, Michael Cole, Wade Barrett, and Pat McAfee were on commentary. Charlotte was driven in a Rolls Royce. That was cool. It's so weird. I don't know what it is. I don't know if this is just like a Mean Girl match or what, but these two are both dressed like kind of similar. Charlotte was pink and blue. Stratton was mostly all pink and a little white, but they've had like similar outfits throughout this entire feud. I don't know if that's just deliberate or like a pissing contest. I don't know what it is. It's just so weird. Anyway, I gotta say, at least these two actually had a match where they seemed to have real animosity. Whereas Jey Uso and Gunther did to some extent. This was like real heat. And this was really good. Tiffany Stratton eventually won with the prettiest moonsault ever and got the win. Kind of surprising, in my opinion. I thought that maybe Charlotte would just, bury her brother. But hey, she put over Tiffany Stratton. We'll see if this feud continues. I gotta say, throughout this feud, I was not really all that impressed with Tiffany. I think her promos have kind of fallen a bit flat. Yeah, it's great that she came back and defended herself against Charlotte. That's great. But I think she's a much better heel. So we'll see. And while Tiffany is a naturally gifted athlete, like there's a lot of really talented women waiting in the wings. The fact that Roxanne Perez apparently had a backstage angle with Stephanie Vicaire says that at least temporarily she's still staying in NXT, which is utterly mind-boggling at this point. But you got Julia, you got Stephanie Vicaire, you have Roxanne. Like those are three really talented women who definitely belong at the top of the WWE main roster, not just NXT. So yes, I know Michael Cole is putting her over, saying, "Oh, she's gonna be like the next Charlotte Flair, this and that." Listen, she's got her work cut out for her. She's got the right look for WWE. Okay, so she'll get chance after chance after chance, and she did step up here. But I gotta see more from a character perspective moving forward. I feel like the promos were just kind of other than that one where she finally went at Charlotte, kind of flat. So we'll see if this is a turning point for her character wise. She's had it in the ring for a while. She's been really good, but we'll see. We'll see. Shout out to Greg Gagne who trained her. Did a good job there. And then we had the Hall of Fame. Not only did Triple H have like a 60+ minute speech where he glazed Vince McMahon, who he did not have to mention. Oh, we had to mention him. He mentored him. The guy is still getting sued for schmex trafficking, okay? Yeah, Steve Austin also put him over too. Way to go. Way to go, guys. Let's just put over Predators this week. Please, let's just do that. Not that that's going to alienate most of your fan base or a lot of your fan base, including the women. Yeah. Okay. That was gross. And so he had the most obnoxiously long Hall of Fame speech. And look, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He was a phenomenal wrestler, one of my favorites going up. But still, these poor kids, these NXT kids had, a freaking show in the morning. And these other wrestlers, maybe these wrestlers were a step slower on night one because they had to stay up and watch Triple H's speech because he's their boss. I don't know. Weird. And then they had a really, a long video package for Triple H, or at least it seemed longer than everybody else's. So that was great. Yeah, that was fun. So yeah, we had the Hall of Fame inductees. And then we had Roman Reigns come out with the Ula Fala. Seth Rollins came out with his fit. And then CM Punk came out with the epic fire burn. Well, they had a video package for him with the fire burns, which is great by Killswitch Engage, or this fire burns. And then Living Color played his entrance. That was fantastic. And yeah, Seth Rollins defeated Roman Reigns and CM Punk. The official match time for us looks like 32 minutes, 40 seconds. This was a long match, but an absolutely phenomenal match. I gotta say, other than the main event, though, not all that memorable. Okay, if you want to pick out a few moments, right? Jacob Fatu winning his first singles title, big moment as long as he maintains that trajectory. Tiffany Stratton beating Charlotte Flair, kind of a big deal if she maintains that trajectory. New Day winning the tag titles again, unless they're like aligning themselves with Paul Heyman or something. More of the same. Just as heels. Jey Uso winning the world title, that's a big deal to his fans. That's cool. But again, nothing that was like a real classic. And even with that triple threat, where, by the way, if you missed the top of the show, I'll recap it again. Seth Rollins pinned Roman Reigns to win the match. What happened was Paul Heyman slid the steel chair at the end, gave it to Punk, low-blowed Punk, gave the chair to Reigns, low-blowed Reigns, then gave the chair to Seth, who took both men out, curb stomped Roman Reigns, 1, 2, 3. This had brawling all over the place on the outside. This had Roman Reigns powerbombing both Rollins and Punk through tables. plastic tables that just didn't break. They imploded. So that kind of sucked for their backs. We had Seth begging Roman to double team CM Punk and take him out, and Roman refused. Roman's teeth were super white here, which is great. I'm not saying that's not a bad thing. Hey, good for him, man. He's got some great chompers, but it was just, I don't know. They were like whiter than usual. I don't know if he got like them redone again, but it looked like he had like a mouth guard for a second. I thought I was watching like Josh Alexander wrestle with that mouth guard, or Kurt Angle in his prime. It was very distracting, very distracting. But he did do a great job in this match. All three men did. They kicked out of everything. Seth Rollins hitting that pedigree mid spear was incredible. CM Punk did not look a step slow. He really had his working boots on. Overall, what can I say? A fantastic match, fantastic finish. But I look back, great match. But what were the stakes? Who Paul Heyman aligns himself with? Like, Paul Heyman's an old guy. I'm not hating on him. He's still an integral character. But Paul Heyman's getting up there in age. Unless this is going to lead to, like, Seth capturing the world title. I don't know. Paul Heyman is more well-liked, I feel like, than, the Authority was, obviously, back in the day. And even, like, the Vince McMahon character back in his day. But this very much kind of feels like WrestleMania 2000, where it was like a McMahon in every corner. And it was more about the non-wrestlers than the actual wrestlers themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just kind of, on one hand, I want to pat this guy in the back and be like, brother, you're brilliant for building up this WrestleMania around you, of all people. On the other hand, it's also like, okay, like, we've seen Seth as a heel before. This isn't new. I still love the match. In a vacuum, I love the match. I thought the finish was great. But where does it lead to? What is the follow-up? Does Seth get that immediate title shot? And if Seth does he stay on Raw? Does he go to SmackDown? Honestly, I think it would make more sense for Seth to go to SmackDown. I feel like Cody versus him is a fresh matchup. And you could also tell the story of Seth never, ever being able to defeat Cody since he's been back. You could also make the argument, too, like, hey, Cody's been champion for over a year. He never did Seth a solid after Seth did him a solid at WrestleMania 40. He never, quote-unquote, gifted him a title shot. That should have been an unspoken thing. That you could do. I'd actually be more intrigued to see Seth versus Cody rather than Seth versus Jay. I think Jay, I don't know. I guess you could run it back with Gunther. I think, put it this way, I think at some point they need to do Jay versus, or they need to put the title on Punk at some point. I think they also at some point, even though that match wasn't that good a couple years ago, maybe do Roman versus Jay as well. And I think at that point, maybe Roman should actually put over Jay. And who knows? I guess you could always do something with Jimmy. We'll see. At least it's a bit unpredictable on the Raw side. But I would really like to see Seth go over to SmackDown and eventually feud with Cody. Who knows? Maybe Randy Orton finally, eventually turns on Cody, and you finally do that match, perhaps for SummerSlam, which, by the way, taking place in my neck of the woods, Jersey, and it's going to be hosted by Cardi B. So, hey, that's pretty cool. But let's go to some comments here before we hop off. Cody Rhodes should drop the title to Randy Orton. Ooh, I can see that happening down the road. But let's look at night 2 and see what we got in store there. We have, so overall, thumbs up main event. But overall, the show, I gotta say, man, it's a bit thumbs in the middle there. As for some other news that's going on right now, Seth Rollins or CM Punk cut a promo, or tried to cut a promo backstage. He was interviewed with Jackie Redmond, and he was speechless after Paul Heyman turned on him. Damn, that's cold. It's a cold world. It's a very cold world. We also had some other news here. So NXT, well, it's not NXT TakeOver anymore. It's NXT Stand and Deliver. Let me pull up the results there. But yeah, a lot going on today. If you missed AEW Dynamite, which celebrated being the longest running wrestling show in prime time on a Turner network, you should watch it. Great matches. Athena, aka Ember Moon, for WWE fans, took on Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks. Incredible match. Mercedes just narrowly won that match. And then we had Will Ospreay take on Konosuke Takeshita. Two of the best TV matches you may ever see. They were phenomenal. Just absolutely fantastic stuff here. Really enjoyed it. Just great stuff. AEW's definitely been on a roll lately, although I really, really, really need them to stop putting over the Death Riders and finally pivot from John Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose, because that hasn't been good at all. But hey, I will celebrate the fact that they've had a great week and it's been really good there. Okay. So I didn't have a chance to watch Stand and Deliver. A few of my friends did. I'm shouting out my boy Gerard Hennessy. He is Through the Table on Instagram, also known as I Strong Style on Instagram. Great dude. This is what we had for Stand and Deliver, courtesy of him. Gigi, and I did see some clips on Twitter, by the way. I just haven't seen the full matches yet. Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley with Shotzi beat Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, Fatal Influence, and Metaphor to become the #1 contenders for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Keep in mind, there's no NXT Women's Tag Team titles anymore, which means at some point we are going to see them on the main roster. Interesting. Ricky Saints beat Ethan Page via pinfall to retain the North American Championship. The main thing I saw about this match was that the crowd kept chanting Tony fumbled, as in Tony Khan fumbled both guys. Listen, I really do think he fumbled Ricky Starks, aka Ricky Saints. He should have been a top guy. Ethan Page, he could have at least done more with, but these poor guys are working their asses off, and the crowd is chanting about the other promotion. Never mind the fact that Nick Khan's doing WWE exec Nick Khan's doing interviews with Bill Simmons saying, "Oh, I have nothing but respect for the father of the son, Shahid Khan, blah blah," like just backhanded compliments. You have Seth Rollins dissing Punk, technically in character, in interviews saying, "Oh, he could have came back to us. He tried to put us down. He came back to another billionaire." Blah blah. Like, I'm sorry. It was great at first when Cody Rhodes first came in. It was great at first when CM Punk came back to kind of sort of reference AEW. I'm over it now. Enough is enough. It's just a crutch. It's just a crutch. I'm tired of it. I do like the fact that Seth Rollins has cut some damn good promos this WrestleMania season, though. And I do like the fact that Seth did bring up John Moxley, because you can't tell a story of the Shield without John Moxley. But yeah, poor guys. They're trying to have a good match, and they're just chanting about AEW. We had Hank and Tank beat Fraxium for the NXT Tag Team titles. I would have kept it on Fraxium, but all right. Shout out to Fraxium, though. Great tag team, and I hope they get called up soon. Sol Ruca defeated Izzy Dame, Connie Jordan, Thea Hale, Lola Vice, and Zarya to win the vacant NXT North American Championship in a ladder match. I probably would have gone with Thea Hale, but Sol Ruca is great. She's definitely stepped up, and she's also currently the WWE Speed Champion, which only appears on X/Twitter. So there you go. We had Dark State, which is, I guess, like the NXT version of Retribution, which is not a compliment, defeating the D'Angelo family. I believe Stacks turned on Tony. Look, I think Tony D is actually pretty legit. Like, he's got a legit wrestling background. He's a really talented guy. But I really do feel like this gimmick screams NXT lifer. And I don't know. I would like to see him pivot a bit before he goes on the main roster, because he is a talented guy. As for the other guys, I'm not really that invested in this. And Dark State, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. So it seems like a My Rise storyline, but worse. With WWE 2K. I actually like this year's My Rise, by the way. You should play it. Steffi Vicaire retained the NXT Women's Championship in a Fatal 4-Way match, defeating Julia, Jada Parker, and Jordan Grace. Booker T was going crazy on commentary. I don't know how this guy is not going to sleep on the couch when he gets home and he sees Queen Charmel. And then we had Obafemi defeat Javon Evans and Trick Williams in a triple threat match to retain the NXT Championship. This is the first PLE to be headlined by 3 black men plus a black referee. Pretty awesome representation here. A lot of my friends were happy about this, and that's great. And from what I saw, this looks like an incredible match. I definitely gotta catch it. All 3 guys should be called up soon. I know Trick Williams has lost some momentum, but he's a really talented guy. I would actually love to see him get called up and reunite with Carmelo Hayes, who, by the way, just won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which I almost feel like it's kind of a rib on him because he's so short and he's posing with that trophy. But look, as a Carmelo fan, I'll take what I can get. It's been a disastrous main roster run so far. I'll take what I can get. I'm happy for him. He should have gotten a WrestleMania spot, though. But Javon Evans, I mean, that guy's a young phenom. I could see him being called up in a couple years. Honestly, he should probably be called up soon. He's that talented. They could use all three of these guys on the main roster, honestly. The men's side's kind of a little wishy-washy. You got to understand, Logan Paul's part-time. AJ Styles is getting old. A lot of these guys are getting, even Jey Uso's talked about retirement. Like, you need some fresh blood in there. So I wouldn't mind seeing Obafemi, excuse me, at some point. I'd also love to see Omos come back. Oh, Nick Khan also did that interview with Bill Simmons where he said, oh, they expect to sign guys from AEW when their contracts expire, but we're not in the business of benching people. Where's Omos been? You re-signed Natalya, you barely used her, and now she's wrestling for GCW and NWA, and she's been getting great marks for some of the stuff she's been doing online, and she did have that GCW show in Bloodsport where she got a great reaction. Do something with her. It's crazy. Think about this, right? I interviewed Karrion Kross and Kaden Carter recently. Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, also not on the show. Also taken off SmackDown. I don't get it. Karrion Kross from Vegas, not on the show. Not even backstage. And, when at the time I interviewed Karrion Kross, he had only wrestled 2 matches, including only one WWE match in 2025. This was only a couple weeks ago. And Kaden Carter, after I interviewed her, I realized that she had only wrestled twice in 2025. Twice. I get that they're running less shows, like less house shows. I get that they're running smaller cards, probably because they don't want to pay people. I'm sorry, but I don't know why else they would have a 5 or 4 match PLE when it's not WrestleMania, right? But still, like, y'all are benching people, and come on, man, you're making money hand over fist. This is getting ridiculous. So yeah, they definitely need to do something with my guy Omos and countless others on the roster, but especially Omos. That poor guy was getting over in Pro Wrestling Noah, won the tag titles. They loved him. He got called back up. They probably were like, oh, he's getting too over for us. And he just got benched for the last 6 or 7 months. And apparently he's healthy. Just embarrassing. And before anybody says it, yes, I know AEW has, intentionally or unintentionally done that with people too. Like, where the hell Scorpio Sky been? Where, Sean Ross Sapp pointed out that Scorpio Sky hasn't been around. And when I looked up, after I saw like a clip that he talked about, like benching people, I looked up Scorpio Sky hasn't wrestled at AEW TV since 2023. His last match was against Andrade, who, oh, by the way, also not on WrestleMania. Oh, man. Yeah. Promoters, y'all got to step it up, man. Come on. You got a great roster. Use them. My goodness. Oh, all right. What else do we have here? So the next night is going to be Io Sky taking on Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. I feel like they kind of fumbled this build up too, and I don't understand why Bianca Belair is booed when she's been right the whole time. Unless she's getting booed for storyline reasons, as in people think she's the one who really attacked Jade. I'm sorry, you fans that are booing Bianca are musty beyond belief, and I'm not going to say racist, but I'm sorry, there's some shadiness going on there. Like, it makes no sense. I guess they're all 3 baby faces. Somebody's got to get booed. But when the most logical baby face gets booed, like, I don't know. I'm side on you guys a bit. Like, come on. She's the most logical baby face in the match. Anyway. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defend the women's tag team titles against Lyra Valkyria and probably Becky Lynch. I don't know how this makes Becky Lynch a babyface. Yeah, I don't know. Lame. Very lame. I don't like it. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. I mean, Logan Paul's a scammer and a scumbag, but should be a good match. And at least AJ's got a WrestleMania spot. Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Fatal 4-way for the IC title. This could be the sleeper match of the show. And could go either way. I think my idea would have been for Dominic to win the title and then have him do an open challenge where Rey beats him, just to continue the storyline where Rey always beats his son. Pause. But since poor Rey's injured, I'd probably still opt to have Dominic win, or you could also just do Braun retaining or Penta winning. I mean, Penta winning would be great. And actually, you know what? After seeing Rey Fenix just get embarrassed in that awful storyline, let's just put on Penta. But I wouldn't be surprised if Dominic Mysterio sneaks out a victory and holds the title for a bit just to mess with us. By the way, his wife has got to be like God's strongest soldier, because like he's doing these media interviews with Liv, and they're like a couple, and like I get maintaining the storyline, but I don't know, man. They are professional. I'm not saying there's anything nefarious going on. I'm just saying his poor wife. Like, he's bringing in the money. I'm sure he's a devoted husband, but it was already enough for Rhea. Now Liv, like, ugh. And even Rhea wasn't doing as much PDA as him and Liv. I don't know. His wife's a strong woman. I will say that. God bless her. I hope he's buying her something nice after WrestleMania because she deserves it. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Cincinnati Street Fight. No real stakes here, but should be a great match. And I guess Drew will probably win since he's lost to Damian Priest multiple times, although it kind of makes Damian Priest look bad because he's supposed to be the babyface. Randy Orton open challenge. As my buddy Man Priest predicts, it could be Rusev. Sure, why not? Honestly, I'd rather see somebody more deserving, like from NXT or something, or somebody we haven't seen in a while. Who? I don't know. I guess you could reheat my boy Omos. If you don't want to do Omos, Sheamus. I don't know. There's a few people I guess you could bring back. I would you know what? Sami Zayn. How is Sami Zayn not on this show? Like how is Sami Zayn not on the show? Unless Sami Zayn is actually hurt, how's my boy Sami Zayn not on the show? It makes no sense. So you know what? I'm gonna say wishful thinking, Sami Zayn or Sheamus, because both guys work really hard. Both guys are big stars. Both guys deserve to be on the show. But yeah, I would venture to guess it's probably gonna be somebody like Rusev. And yeah, I don't think Rusev should win. That being said, who knows? And Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. I think there's gonna be a lot of tomfoolery in this match. The fact that The Rock just disappeared right after that angle with Cena, terrible. It made no sense. Maybe he's got other commitments. Maybe there's been some creative disagreements. I wouldn't be surprised about that. But man, I don't know. It's a lot of some good promos back and forth between Cena and Rhodes, but there was just so much more they could have explored. And the heel Cena characters amounted to, I'm going to ruin professional wrestling, and you're all idiots and abusers. And it was great the first week, but after that, I don't know. I don't know. It's been a good feud, but nothing compared to what it could have been. It's not as bad as Rock and Hogan finally feuding back in the day, and them needing to put Rock in a truck and get hit, or no, I guess like Rock was put in an ambulance and got hit with a truck, with a Mack truck by Hogan. I know, only for Hogan and Rock to embrace 2 weeks later. Yeah, I don't know. I think Cody should win here, but there's probably going to be some tomfoolery. You never know. If Rock comes back, maybe they'll just give Cena the 17th world title. We'll see. It's kind of crazy, though, that Cody called him pale and then had a neck like a stack of dimes and all this other stuff. Like, usually you're not supposed to point out a guy's flaws, but, Rock did it back in the day and he got away with it. And, Cody's that guy now. And look, it's John Cena. People are still going to want to watch him, even if he glazed Vince McMahon for no reason. All right. Anything else here? Yeah, that's pretty much it, folks. But I'm going to hop on out of here. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, please like, share. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more updates like this. Keep in mind, we just did interviews with active WWE superstars. Kaden Carter, former women's tag team champion. Karrion Kross, two-time NXT champion. Check them out. And I'll be back recapping WrestleMania Night 2 throughout the night. So until next time, everybody, as always, enjoy the matches.